So sometimes, we communicate in such a clinical way. We've got to get the words correct, and it's got to be structured properly, as if we're writing a thesis. So as if we're at university, making sure everything is physically correct and backed up and proven, and everything has to be precise. And what happens here becomes so clinical and so dry and so precise that it lacks the curves and the kind of crashes of humanity. The cracks in the voice. It's like listening to a singer who's so clinical at their singing and they've got everything correct, sometimes a little bit like choir singers, and every note is precise, that we're losing the solo singer, the one that's uniquely expressive, who cracks sometimes, who does it, who changes it a little bit, who uniquely and authentically gives their version of the song, and I notice that with singers. And I'm often looking for, I don't want the exact version of that song sung by that other singer. I want to hear your version. I want to feel where you're coming from. So that's creative singing. It's not just singing. It's about being confident enough to give that a go and to explore it and to believe and trust in yourself as a performer or as a singer or even as an actor. So even with speaking, it's the same thing. We're wanting to influence. We're wanting to grab attention and have people engaged with what we say. We want them to trust us, to believe us, to connect with us, to know that we're there for them. And something like, saying a metaphor like, I'm going to shout your name from the rooftop, is a beautiful way of saying, I'm here to support you, because it now becomes descriptive, it becomes imagery. For you to even have said that statement, you had to feel it, you had to visualize it. You didn't have to just say it from a book, I'm here to support you. How many people say, I'm here to support you? But to describe it with an imagery like that would be quite powerful and courageous. So one of the ways to practice that type of creative communication is to play with speaking from the heart, like sometimes just touching your heart and feeling the words and feeling what it is that you're trying to say instead of thinking what it is that you want to say. Feel it in your gut, like, savoring, you're going to eat some food and you're going to taste it. You don't just eat it and digest it, but you want to taste it, you want to savor it. You want to really sense it in your body, that you are connected to what it is that you're saying. And when you're communicating, people feel that energy that you've put in, the thought. They can feel where you're coming from, that it's deeper. You're not just thinking it and making sure you get everything physically correct. You're taking some risks and you're putting some statements there and you go, wow, where did that come from? And that's what it's almost like. Creative communication can be planned, but a lot of it is, many times it's spontaneous because you're connected to what you're saying and you're wanting to communicate the essence. You want that person to trust you. And so for them to trust you, you have to be intimate in a way. You have to be open. You've got to be vulnerable. You've got to allow them to see you. And so to feel you and see you. So you do use words that are quite spontaneous, because behind a desk, even if you had to prepare it, you may not have that moment as much as you could when you're speaking to somebody directly. So it's creative communication.